Welcome everyone. I see that not everyone is wearing the headsets yet. Yeah? It's beautiful, all these lights. Actually, we need to turn up the lights. It looks like you're in a disco or something. It's, by the way, very weird to be on stage like this. Normally you hear your voice echoing through the magnificent venue, but now I'm only hearing myself. So, welcome to the connectivity session where we talk about our vision. My name is Eddie. I'm the Senior Director of Connectivity Partnerships. I'm with Booking for 6 years, and I'm joined by Sarab, who will introduce himself later. So in the next 30 minutes, can we do that as well? Thank you very much. Okay, we can go, right? No. All right, so thanks for joining. So this morning you heard Fiona and James talking about customer centricity, but also about our journey towards making the connected trip a reality. We have been talking about this vision for quite some time, but actually we have made quite some progress in that sense, but as you also heard this morning, we are not done. Where we often have in the past favored our what we now call travelers or customers over partners, we now try to find the right balance. The reason for that is pretty simple. Oh, this is going to be really interesting. So the reason for that is pretty simple. We are a two-sided marketplace. You can probably hear the clapping just through my microphone, right? You can't hear anything else, right? No, okay. I can hear it as well. Probably louder than you. So going back, we have a two-sided marketplace, and a two-sided marketplace can only be successful if two sides of the equation are in the right balance. No supply, no customers, no customers, no supply, right? And I think that's what we need to start changing. That means we are on a journey to make the connected trip work from a two-sided marketplace. Accommodations are still at the core of what we're doing. You've heard us loud and clear this morning. It's still the biggest part of our journey and of our business. But we also want to make sure that people choose us because of what we are and how we actually just help people to grow their business. It's not that we want people to work with us because we are booking and let's say for a variety of reasons. It should be a choice. And we can only make this choice happen if we find the right balance and help partners in the same way as we help our customers. We want to ultimately become the strategic partner of choice. And the word sits in choice. And you will hear choice more often in this session, coming by a few times. It's a journey. And we are on a journey for quite some time. So we left the dates here and the years. But we have actually started probably 10, 15 years ago with what we call stage 0. That stage is past. But that's where we actually started to work as Booking with channel managers, with PMS, but most likely with channel managers that were offering pure R&I and a reservation to make sure that hotels could use multiple channels through your interface. In that period, we've actually started to shift a bit towards the interface. And we knew that back then, that not every channel manager was actually also offering an interface. Some things really happened on the back end. It was not even visible for hotels or other types of accommodation that there was actually something happening. Now we see that much more interfaces, like our extranet, but also what you're offering in your software, are more visible. That's where we are focused on right now, because we do see that there's a lot to gain if we start changing the way we are using these interfaces. And we will talk more about it later. So we talk about the seamless experience. And Sarab will explain much more about it. I want to go through these different stages. Because we also go, if we look at stage number 2, then we actually try to help and work with providers to be a business enabler. And we've done some of this already. We've done things on pricing, on incentives, on joint activities. So there was already something happening in the market where we actually start to use our technology providers to help accommodation get the best of our platform. But these two things between stage 1 and stage 2 were constantly going back and forth. And that also just made us realize that we actually had to take a step back. We've done a lot of investments over the last couple of years in our connectivity teams. We currently have 12 teams that are just building products that are just going into this ecosystem to integrate with. We've also just changed the way we do partner management. We try to find a much more balanced approach in how we work together, aligning roadmaps, figuring out, let's say, where are your plans? Where are our plans? How can we bring that together? We've also done already quite some work on modernization of our APIs, and that's still going on. And I think that many of you have also during the pandemic started to modernize your tech stack. We are also doing that, but we are not done. So we're still working on that as well. So there's lots has already happened in, let's say, the stage between 1 and 2. But we felt a little bit uncomfortable. There's also the swirl you see in the middle. Let's say that's actually a little bit where we are. In one way, you see that we are trying to kind of help providers to work with properties to help them with their performance. On the other side, there's still a lot to gain when it comes to offering the right interface. The biggest friction point we see is that often properties need to go to multiple systems. And that's not just one, it's not the revenue management, the PMS, but it's also all these extranets you're working with. And when we talk about the seamless experience, that's what we try to simplify. If you then just fast forward to stage 3, that's where we actually would like to work with all of you to also be the enabler for the connected trip. And even in that stage, we already know that there are quite a few providers that are already doing some elements in that space. So you can see that even though we have this growth path for the next decade, I think that's also what you heard this morning on our journey for the connected trip, there are lots of things already happening. And the realization from our side to kind of just take a step back and just focus on our key foundational capabilities, that's something where my dear friend and colleague Sarab is going to tell you much more about into what does a seamless experience actually look like. Sarab, there you go.
Thanks, Eddie. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Can you do like a quick wave? Yeah, great. Okay, before I start, let me introduce myself very quickly. I'm Sarabjeet. People also call me Sarab. I'm a director of product for partner platforms here at Booking.com. I lead Pulse connectivity extranet platforms for Booking.com. Essentially, these platforms help our properties to set up, manage, and grow their business on Booking.com. I've been working in Booking.com and connectivity since 4.5 years now. I live in Amsterdam with my family, and also because I love the weather here. It's perfect. So let me go back to what Eddie was sharing, right? We all know our vision now, what stages we have got, right? A very important aspect here is that, we are an ecosystem, right? And all of us need to work together as one team to make sure that we cross these stages together. Let me give you a sense of where we are, right? And Eddie just touched upon this topic as well. I see us crisscrossing between stage 1 and 2 today, right? However, the challenge is that we have to really cross the stage 1, with 100% clearance. So what it means is that, we need to make sure that our mutual customers, that is accommodation partners, they have access to all the basic functionality that they need to run their business on Booking.com. We basically call this basic functionality as foundational solutions on connectivity. So where are we today? The big challenge we see from where we are today is that roughly half of the managed connectivity partners have adopted the foundational solutions. And And if you see, these solutions also need to be percolated down to the PMS ecosystem as well. And I think the percolation there is even lesser. So all this is leading to a broken experience for our connected partners today. And they're facing a lot of issues and challenges. Let's take payments, for example, right? It's a very, very lovely topic. And what we hear from our partners is that they would like to see their payout data in the PMS itself, right? Also, we hear that there is a lot of inconsistency of the financial data between different systems, right? Now, what happens out here is partners end up doing a lot of manual reconciliation, and wasting time with all these things, right? And they could have used the same time to manage the guest better, right? Provide that wonderful, amazing experience to those guests. Same as with the property content, right? Our partners would like to see and manage their property content from a single interface. They would like to view their content from the single interface so that they have a better understanding of what's happening between different channels. Again, we are not able to provide that today. Same is with the marking of invalid credit card. I'll not go into the details of all these challenges. We have a next session which goes much deeper into these issues. But ultimately, we need to fix these issues together. So what is a seamless interface, or stage one as we call it? A seamless interface, or stage one, means that we need to make sure that all these 6 foundational solutions out there on the slide needs to be available in both PMS and channel manager ecosystem. I just spoke about managing property, content, rate plans, policies, right? It's common sense, right? Our property should be able to do that from the interface they would like to do so. We are doing very nice when it comes to sharing rates and availability, right, onto different channels. But I think there is a scope to improve on restrictions. A lot of times our partners are telling us that they are not aware that they're closed on Booking.com, or they have low availability because of restrictions. They set some restrictions, let's say 6 months back, and then they just forget, right? So we can do a better job in telling them like, hey, you are not available, or you have very low availability. Again, pricing models, it's very fundamental, right? How do we align the revenue models of partners with the pricing models? Something we need to think about. Reservation management, again, we are doing good job sending out those new reservations, but when it comes to sharing cancellations or modifications, it's a challenge. There is a data loss somewhere. I spoke about payments, so I'll not go there. But again, for the home segment, it's very important to have the vacation rental essentials and onboarding solutions, which we have. I think the numbering got a bit wrong here, but it's like six foundational capabilities. So once we have all of this available to our partners, that's what we call a seamless interface and crossing the stage one. I know we need to do a lot of work at our side as well, and frankly, we have been already investing a lot, but in order to build this seamless experience or seamless interface, what we are trying to do is these 3 things in the coming year. First, we would like to work on improving our foundational solutions. We've already got a lot of feedback from market, from our provider business managers, and our own research. So as we speak, we are already working on improving these foundational solutions. Secondly, we would like to work towards improving the connectivity with the PMSs. Over the last few years, I think from 21 onwards, we have been developing capabilities to connect with different types of provider systems. We would love to collaborate with all of you to figure out how can we really deepen those PMS connections. We can do so, by working collaboratively here, and I'm happy to discuss how to go about this. And the third thing which we'd like to do is continue to modernize our platforms and systems. We are doing so because we would like our systems to be always performant, reliable, and compliant. And Eddie spoke about 12 teams, right? These teams are continuously working to innovate our existing products. So these are the three things we would like to do in the coming year. And we have a roadmap session, today to just take you through all of these in a bit more details. So with this, I hope we are able to cross the stage one together, and then we can really work towards achieving those business performances, growing the business of the partners as part of stage two. Thanks for listening, and I'll now give it back to Eddie. Yeah.
Thank you, John. I think there's always an interesting question to ask, let's say, so what? What's in it for you if we start doing this? You already have your software out there, you listen to your customers. Why is this needed? And I think there's one of the areas which we see, which I also touched upon earlier, is that there are so many tools out there that any accommodation needs to use to run their business. It's complicated. Some tasks are being done in multiple systems. There are still tons of spreadsheets that flow around to kind of just do bulk uploads here and there, set your rate plan somewhere. It's too complicated and it's too much work. So if we can start together, and you could ask yourself the question, why do we do this on these foundationals? Have you decided on what's foundational? In a way, yes. On the other hand, we've also asked lots of our partners, what are the things they would love to do and actually prefer to do in your interface? Those were the 6 things. There were 6, not just 4, but there were 6. So they've told us that said, these are the things we actually prefer to do in a simple way in the interface. A choice, not just having to go back and forth between multiple systems because certain things are not available in your system because our APIs or our solutions do not cater towards that. So that's what we're trying to solve for. So the seamless foundation, the seamless foundational products are an important first step. Does that mean that we are not going to look into messaging, reviews, all the stuff? These APIs and integrations are still available. But if we want to make a good step forward, then we do believe that the first things we need to do is make sure that these 6 foundational capabilities are available, full swing, in your interface. What will it do? So again, so what? So we do believe that if there is these type of capabilities available in your software, customers, our joint accommodation partners, are actually going to use your software much more. That means more engagement, longer time in your tool, better ways to kind of give them the right information they are looking for because they are in your platform. And they're not in your platform just to perform a task, but they actually just use it on a daily basis, much more than they did before. If you heard today, this morning, how long we spend on a mobile device, why are we spending time on a mobile device? There is something to gain from, right? Besides endorphin and just making sure that you feel happy. But people just get and stay on the telephone. I'm not going to say that your customer should stay 5 hours in your tool and just figure things out. That also might be a little bit too much, but think about it. The reason why people engage with software is because they gain something from it. It's easy to kind of do their business and they don't have to go to multiple different places. So the engagement level with your software goes up. So that's one. So that's what we want to do together. So that's one thing that's in it for you. The other part is you can actually start to differentiate yourself from your competitors. If we look into all the individual business from each of the providers that are sitting here and look at the type of properties you serve as a company, we can actually see a lot of parallels within the companies within your portfolio. So we have providers that are catered towards 3, 4, 5-star hotels. There are ones that are looking into bed and breakfast. And guess what? The ones who are serving a bed and breakfast are probably not the ones that are going to serve a 3, 4-star hotel because their needs are different. So if you think about it, what can you offer to your customers is much more tailored towards their specific needs. The beauty of it is, this morning I also heard something like there is no one size fits all. And we've actually been treating this ecosystem and what we offer to everyone as a one size fits all. And I think we all know that's not the case. So the differentiation actually helps you to also just go into certain solutions that Booking as a company will never be able to build for a subset of your properties. So that's also where you can have much more leverage towards your customers in the differentiation you're offering them. So these are the two components that are in this journey which we're on together, because this is not solved tomorrow. This will take time. But it's something where we strongly believe we can actually help each other to kind of just create a better and more enlightened use for your customers and our joint accommodation partners. So what's our commitment to you? And we've heard this a lot. So we have actually spent a lot of time working with all of you, figuring out how can we do the next API integration. And then you start building it, and you start informing your customers about it, and the usage is low. That's a bummer, right? Because you want to have engagement on your platform. You've invested time and money to build something that you would like to see your customers using, but they don't. And some of these things are actually just caused by us. Because our local partner managers are very used to the extranet. That's what they know. That's what they live and breathe. That's what they know inside out. If you wake them up in the middle of the night, they tell you exactly where you can find certain things. Our commitment to you is that at the time that you are at the seamless experience to 100%, we are going to work with you to create a toolkit for our account manager so that our account manager can actually start pushing your software to accommodations to help them to make it simpler. So we start to make this a real joint effort to not only just sending everyone to the extranet for certain activities. No, we actually try to kind of send them to your tool, because we want to help in the education part, because it's also part of education. We've heard many times that properties say, oh yeah, but we're doing this for 5 years already this way, it's totally fine. That could be fine. But there are better ways and faster ways and simpler ways to do it. So why not help them, educate them, pull them through this funnel? And of course, it needs to come with the right user experience, right? If it's 25 clicks down, you might not be able to help them because they feel like it's too complicated. So that's the other part of the commitment we are giving to you. We have invested in professional services. We are building service offerings. We are also creating a seamless experience accelerator. Over time, helping everyone to the best of our abilities and based on, let's say, the resourcing we have available, to make sure that you get the right support from us throughout this journey. We also get our user experience people alongside the people who would like to be engaged with that to help out and say, hey, have you thought about this? We have a huge experience base with regards to UX. Because you heard this morning James talk about experimentation. UX also starts with that, right? Just saying, oh, well, how does it look like? If we move this from here to there, what is the conversion ratio? Do we see things changing? So we would like to kind of bring that expertise and knowledge also to you, so that you can start using this in your daily endeavors when you are building out new parts of the interface. This is a joint journey. We can't do this alone. As Sarab was saying, we have also work to do on our end. We have identified quite a lot of gaps in our APIs that we would like to kind of get solved. But it's not only the API, it's also sometimes in the settings you have done. If we look into restrictions, for example, I can tell you there's no API for that. But the settings you have built in your system might be something we can work on together to say, hey, is this logic? Can we change that? Can we make sure that there is a better restriction management option so that there's more availability, so that ultimately the property gets bookings? So the seamless experience is much more than only a simple, it's not always simple, API integration. It's much more than that. And this is what we jointly would like to do. So we need to start thinking about how can we share roadmaps together. We are going to share parts of our roadmap today. We hope that you can share yours with us so that we can jointly see where do things align? Where can we actually start working together? Are there things on our roadmap that we might need to pull forward? Because many of you are having certain things on your roadmap. So we can see how can we actually just help each other in the best possible way. So I think we are very well positioned as a company, but also in working with this ecosystem to kind of just make this change and ultimately make it easier for accommodations to work with us and with you. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, Sarab and I will be around. But let me hand over to the next speakers and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.